Most of us know Pilgrims held the first Thanksgiving to celebrate surviving their first harsh winter. Another part of history, though, is fairly unknown. As Paul Strand reports from Plymouth, Massachusetts, an even more impressive miracle saved the Pilgrims and nearby Indian tribes just 2 years later.
Plymouth, Massachusetts pulls out all the stops for Thanksgiving. A parade filled with historical reenactors, lots of bands, lots of floats, lots of cheer and fun. But it was a much more somber tone on the very first holiday. As Pilgrim reenactor Leo Martin reminds us, that's because Pilgrims in 1621 had survived a first tragic winter that killed 51 of their 102 people. And then their first crop after had thrived.
And I thought that they ought to thank God for that. So they had a Thanksgiving.
Martin and his wife run the faith-based Jenny Museum to keep the memory of our Pilgrim forefathers' faith alive. He related how the friendly Chief Massasoit brought 99 Braves to the first Thanksgiving, which turned into a 3-day celebration.
They played games, they shot off guns, they had competitions, and really bonded, which is very important. Because you have to understand that because hunters came here before the Pilgrims and captured Indians as slaves, there was a little bit of animosity there.
Then 1623 brought a drought that threatened to wipe out all the crops of Plymouth Plantation and nearby Indian tribes.
Everything wilted. On a Wednesday morning, Governor Bradford turned to his people and he said, "We need to get on our knees and have to ask God what we've done wrong."
The settlers realized their colony, even their lives, were on the line.
And they began to pray. 90 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. 9 in the morning they started, noontime nothing. 2 in the afternoon, 4 o'clock, a little cloud right above the plantation. And by 6 o'clock it began to rain.
The miracle had begun over the plantation, but now God had to grant a special kind of rain.
And I do not mean the kind of rain we're used to in Plymouth, the nor'easter where everything gets knocked down, but a soft, gentle rain fell on Plymouth Plantation for 2 weeks, and the crops were saved.
Not only that, as nearby Indian chief Hobbamock watched, this miracle, this saving rain, initiated a huge leap forward in relations with the Pilgrims.
And when he saw that happen, he went up to William Bradford and he said, "Billy, I like your God. He saved your crops." And Hobbamock became a Christian. And that's when Hobbamock built his village right across the river from the Pilgrims, 3 years after the Pilgrims arrived, so he could be closer to his Christian friends and his Christian God.
Some criticize the Pilgrims for not being as lively or actively witnessing as today's evangelicals, but Martin has great respect for these early settlers' Christianity.
People say to me, the Pilgrims didn't evangelize. You know what they did? They lived their faith. And when you live your faith, it makes an effect. It had an effect on Hobbamock.
Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from Plymouth, Massachusetts.